3, 2, 1. Is it actually all recording? Okay, I'll do it again. 3, 2.
Don't clap, because it's going to be like, welcome to Filter's headquarters. Just like clap and then put your hands down and then start.
Welcome back to the Deep End at Filter headquarters, and today we have another special guest in the building, none other than Tkay Maidza. How are you doing?
Oh, good. Nice to meet you.
Nice to see.
I'm joking.
Nice to meet you. I met you ages ago.
I know.
Nice to see you again.
Nice
How you been?
Good. I've been good actually. The year's been kind of slow, like slow but quick. So it's like when I've done things, it's been like, oh, and then it's just like too much spare time. So I've been kind of running amok in between.
Running amok? What does that entail?
I don't know. It's just like when you have too much spare time, so you do everything that you're not supposed to do. Just like oversleep, go out like a couple of nights in a row. Just like nothing to do with what I'm supposed to do.
Well, in Sydney, there's not really that many places to go, really.
Not really, but you can like, I feel like there's so many nests that you can just find something. You can find a groove, whatever groove that is, kind of thing.
Just a couple of grooves.
Just a couple of grooves.
Yeah. And I think as an artist, you're in an interesting position because, you know, you're still very young, you're 24 years old, but you've been killing it for a couple of years now. So where do you see yourself as an artist? What stage of your career do you think that you're in right now?
I feel like I'm still starting. Like, I feel like I'm in this weird, like, is established, but still like discovery phase, because not a lot of people know me, or I haven't like done something consistently enough for people to be like, that's Tkay. So I still have like a lot of room to grow, and I can still like go any direction and pick a place. So I think I'm starting to do that now. I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm still like the discovery phase, which is like exciting, but sometimes it's like, okay, come on now, let's like pick a side eventually and just go into it. But I guess, I don't know, like life is, the whole journey of life is, it's a journey. Like it's a marathon. It's not like it's gonna happen now. Like you just never know.
It's about the journey, not the destination.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we also trying to get to Ibiza, so no, I'm joking.
Yeah, get that Ibiza money.
I'm joking. Get the Vegas money.
And I remember in, you know, as early as 2013, 2014, the hype around you was crazy, you know, like the Switch Lanes days, it was almost like inescapable, you know. That was when I first interviewed you, you know, in that first ascension, I guess.
Yeah.
So, you know, back then you were, you know, still a teenager. So how did it feel being thrown so heavily into the deep end? Because, yeah, it does feel like there was a string there where, you know, you're on
literally
festivals
everything.
in front of 10,000 people, you know.
Yeah.
And as a 16-year-old, that's daunting.
It is daunting, but I feel like in that time I was just excited. Like every time I had an opportunity, I was just excited to do it. And I probably was really nervous and scared, but it just felt like that's what I was supposed to do. And then also there was so much happening that I didn't really like process it that well, like that quickly either. So I was just like, okay, cool, that happened. Now South by Southwest, now we'll go in studio with this person, now another big show. And it just happened like within 2-3 years. That I just didn't really process it that quickly. But when I had time to chill, I was like, oh, that all happened, and I'm now 20, and it was just like, I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't daunting in the time, but looking back, I think I could look at a lot of situations and be like, oh, maybe I was really anxious, and that's probably why that happened. But like in the moment, you never really realize because you're just reacting rather than like being proactive. But yeah, I don't know, I was lucky that I just had a lot going on, so it was reactive for the most part, which is, yeah, it's cool, but yeah, it was just a lot.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't like daunting. I don't think, yeah.
And being like 16 and 17 and 18, I think it's such like a formative time. You know, you're leaving school and then going to university, or, you know, you're just discovering clubbing and alcohol and those sorts of things. So was there ever a sense of you kind of like missing out, I guess, because, you know, you'd be on the road or you'd be in the studio and you have friends back home? Was there ever a sense of, you know, oh, I'd just like to be a regular teenager again or anything like that?
At that time, no, because I think throughout high school, I was very like academic and like sports focused, so I didn't really go out a lot. And then as soon as all the touring started, I was 17, so I couldn't really stay out after the shows or hang around, so I had to leave. And I think from all of that, I just ended up not wanting to be out anyway. I was like, I'm working, and it could be a cool excuse to be like, to not hang around in weird situations. I think now I'm literally like feeling the FOMO, and that's probably why I'm going out a lot now and like
Making up for
experiencing
lost
like
time.
yeah, I'm making up for lost time because I'm like, what? You could go to a club on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and da 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 da, and it's like maybe not in Sydney, but like maybe
Yeah,
in different
definitely
in like different places, or you're like, wait, people go to raves. I've never been. I probably go to one rave a year, but now I'm like, let's go to one every weekend. Not really like that, but I'm more appreciative of these experiences because I guess that's what people talk about in their songs. And I think I reached a point where it was like, okay, I can't talk about being young or like all these high school situations because I'm not in high school anymore. Like I need to have a new story.
And I think now we're seeing another wave of, artists like yourself coming up in their really young years. Like, obviously the Kid Laroi is the big one, and then you've got Creed the Kid coming out of Queensland as well. So having kind of lived through that and experienced that, what's some words of advice that you would give to them?
I think it's just like, just do what you want to do. I mean, I'm grateful for my experience and like where everything went. So, and I don't like regret not going out when I was younger. So it's just like, I don't know, just lean into your truth and like go for it. That's kind of like what I would say, because there's no right and wrong to like what you talk about in music. There's so many people in the world that someone will relate to it, So I don't know, it's just like, yeah, live your truth and go for it. Don't be like ashamed. Yeah.
And I also saw an interview where you talked about your early days when you were just getting into music, and you mentioned the rapper Miracle.
Yeah.
Miracle, he goes by Blessed nowadays. He produces a lot of stuff behind the scenes, but he's also his own solo artist. And you talked about, Miracle being from Ghana and seeing a rapper from Ghana in Australia getting signed to Sony Records.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal for you.
Yeah.
So can you expand a bit on that? Because I feel like, for me, it's kind of like an Asians who are younger than me. It's kind of like, Rich Brian, that's the guy that everyone looks to. Or for Polynesians, it might be, Hooligan Hefts, and stuff like that. So explain to us, like, what that does, for someone who's aspiring to be an artist to see something like that.
I think, for me, my family moved to Australia in 2001, and in that time, or like for that decade, I always felt like I was like literally the only black kid in like every situation that I was in, like going to school, sport, anything. And then even with music, it's like you didn't really have a lot of people to look up to that were similar to you. But I think it was cool seeing people like Miracle, and also Monty Crooks was around that time as well. And it just made a lot of sense because one, they weren't on TV shows, and I was reading a lot about the way, like the industry way of growing like your profile of like writing of music, meeting the right people, doing showcases, going to like certain events and stuff, just trying to like meet the right people. And I assume that's how they did it because I didn't see Miracle on like a TV show or anything. So it's just like more inspiring, and I guess also the stuff he was talking about was more relatable because I feel like when you're like, Australia's a new country generally, so it's like for me, I don't have a lot of stuff to relate to, and when I look to like American music, I'm like, this is tight, but a lot of the stories I don't really relate to them either, so it's like just like a very niche type of person. And I think seeing Miracle and Monty Crooks do what they do, and they have a sense of freedom to what they say, which is like, and I relate to it a lot, so it was just like a cool affirmation when I started to be like, okay, I think I know a way to get into this. Not really, but there's people that are doing it, so there has to be a way that is not going on like X Factor or literally just that,
X Factor slap spot.
Yeah, no, it is really fun. Like, it is really fun, but if you're not a technically good singer, if you just like, if you care about, I don't know, writing music and you want to be a rapper, there's all these things where you're just like, I'm not that stereotype, so that's not my path. How else can I get there, kind of thing. And that made them, like Miracle and Manu were doing like local club shows, and they were building like the culture in their area, and it seemed like this really cool thing that was happening in another state, but it was still like, that'd be cool to be a part of it. And that's, they really did. I feel like it's not just for me. I had a lot of friends that were my age that were also African. They were like, oh, do you know this guy? And I'm like, yeah, how cool is it? He accepted me on Facebook. And we were just watching, and it was really inspiring. So yeah.
Shout out Miracle.
Shout outs.
Blessed Tunes, at Blessed Tunes, I think you guys right now.
Yeah.
And speaking about that, how's it feel knowing that you might be that person now? Because in the same way that you looked towards Miracle, you know, I'm sure there's like, you know, a lot of young girls now looking to Tkay Maidza being like, you know, that's who I want to be, you know, when I'm older.
Yeah. It's cool. I think it's another affirmation. I mean, yeah, I feel like there's a lot of things that I've done, which obviously are like not a lot of people who are like me in Australia, a small country, have done. So I feel like, I don't know, it's just a blessing to be able to follow a path and then add stuff to the story, and then someone else will probably add more to the story, and then it's like, just gives more opportunities for everyone. So it's like, it's cool to be part of it, I reckon, because it's like the beginning and there's so many possibilities in the future, and you know, the internet is getting smaller.
And have there been any fan experiences like that that have really kind of like blown you away and made you really, you know, value your position and your career?
Definitely. Like I've definitely seen a lot of interviews where people were like, oh yeah, went to a TK show and then I started writing a song, and then, you know, they're signed to labels and stuff. And yeah, like other African girls as well that are like, oh yeah, I started doing music, or not even music, just like fashion. They just felt like they could embrace themselves even more and celebrate what they like, who they want to be more, just because of me being like just posting a photo. But usually when I post something, I'm like, oh, I don't want to post anything because it's like so anxiety inducing. But it's interesting that from another perspective, they could be like, she's being her complete self. And that's a nice, yeah, it's a nice compliment in a way, yeah.
So let's talk about your Last Year Was Weird project.
Yeah.
I read another interview where you were talking about the name and you were reflecting on the fact that the last year of when you released that was weird.
Yeah.
But you also mentioned something about the Rugrats conspiracy theory. So can you explain to us what the Rugrats conspiracy theory is?
Okay, so yeah, I think the conspiracy theory of Rugrats is basically the main character Dill is like, he's alive, but everyone else doesn't really exist. It's like either they're dead or it's like an aborted baby, or like, yeah, another neighbor's aborted child. It's just like messed up.
Yeah, so was that a direct inspiration for the title, or?
No, I just had it was around the time, like, okay, so I had that whirlwind of like the first 3 years where I was just touring a lot and everything was going really well, but I think for the most part, and none of it was really planned, and I grew up listening to hip hop and then going into this dance world, I was kind of like, this is cool, there's a lot of new sounds, and that was kind of what excited me, was like, I was just in this world that I just didn't know much about, and every time I made a song, it was exciting for me because I felt like I made something different. And I don't, but at the same time, it was just me reacting to like people giving me beats, and I'd make a song out of it, and then it would be out. And sometimes some songs would get released, and I didn't want them to come out because I didn't understand why that sounded like a song, because my perception of music was so different then. So then when I had time to, when my album came out, I was really upset because I was just like, SZA just dropped an album, it was amazing, I wish I made that. And there was so much music that was coming out that was really inspiring. And then I finished my album and I was like, wait, I want to start again. But everyone was like, you did a good job. Like, why do you want to start again? Do you think you can do a better job? And I was just like, probably, but not right now, because I don't think I have like the mental capacity to do it, or like the skills. So yeah, I was just upset. And then I had to go through all my business stuff, and when it stopped, obviously everything just gets real. And it's like, you have to be more in tune with like your money flow. You're like, oh, maybe I could have bought a house, maybe I could have da-da-da-da, just like your business and like real stuff. And I don't, and just like the people who are surrounding you, it was just all of those things just like came in, and I was like, wait, what is life? Why am I here? Is this really meant to be? How did I even land in music? Da 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 da. And then that was the weird year. And then, yeah, I met Dan, who works on all my music now, and he was like, "Seems like you had a weird year." And I'm like, "Yeah, wait, that's the project name."
Yeah. And how do you learn to navigate that? You know, obviously being young in the music industry and having all these people around you tell you, you know, this is what's right for your music.
Yeah.
And this is what's right for your music. How do you learn to stand on your own feet and, you know, just be confident in yourself and what you're making? Because it's hard when there's people, you know, have had 20 years music experience and they're telling you this is right.
It's so tough. I think I'm really stubborn, and I think, I mean, the reason why I started music was because I was playing sport and everyone was like, you should be working harder, da da da. And I was like, do you know what? I'm gonna do music because no one expected me to do that. And I think when people expect me to do things, I just completely go off on a tangent and do like everything I'm not supposed to do to prove that I can do something else or like better. And sometimes it does work out for the best. I mean, I'm still here. So I think in that situation, I literally just started going to yoga, just like was not responding to anyone. And I think everyone was like, she's fine, because I was still touring. But like when I wasn't playing shows, I was just like not speaking to anyone. And then when I was writing, I wasn't sending anything to anyone. I was just like doing random sessions here and there. And yeah, then I started sending demos off, and most of the labels were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, this is what feels like what is right. And then eventually I made like tracks like White Rose and stuff, and they were like, oh, this is actually pretty good. And it just became what I wanted to be, and that just became my character as well. So I think it's like that whole thing, it's like if people don't believe you, you just have to like keep doing it till they're like, oh, she really wants to do this. We can just let her do that, I guess.
So just keep doing it till they give up.
Yeah, that's literally it. Just keep being like, I really want to do that, until they're like, okay, she's not gonna change her mind.
No.
So yeah, that was kind of, that's what I did. I just like logged off and started rejigging everything until it looked a bit more convincing.
And recently I also saw you do a little collaboration event thingy with Depop.
Yes.
So that was cool because
Yeah.
it saw you kind of expand kind of your merch line and start getting into clothing a bit more. So any further plans with that? Because you know you're doing like t-shirts, but also kind of like utility vests and all sorts of like crazy shit.
Yeah, I definitely want to build up on it. Like, I guess the goal for me is to make it something like Supreme or Golf or, I don't know, like Palace and like, like a streetwear, but it could be high fashion. Maybe like Stone Island or something. Like, that's my ultimate goal, but you have to work up to it, and also materials are so expensive. So I think like right now it's just making it, whenever I release something, it's just making a really strong merch drop, and then as it grows, it can just like divert into its own thing. And you know, whenever I drop it, it's not like TK's merch. It's like last year was weird, just drop some new TK merch, but it's actually last year was weird because there's no TK on it at all, kind of thing. And it's been going really well. Like a lot of the stuff is sold out, which is great. And so yeah, it's just like consistently building up and like trying to make cultural moments within that whole project. So then people are like, oh, this is actually a thing. But yeah, it's just gonna continue dropping items until it like really clicks into its own thing.
And what's one fashion trend that you'd really love to see come back in 2020?
Oh, I'm really trying to make
Visors?
No, not visors. What are those things that are like the straps that you to hold your pants up?
Oh,
suspenders.
Yeah, suspenders.
Yeah, I'm really trying to make suspenders come back. I don't know why.
You're not wearing them today, though.
Not today, but every time I go to Spotlight, I buy suspenders because I'm like, this is going to be a thing. Why? I have no idea, but I think it'll be dope. It's very like 90s, but it's a bit classy. It's a bit
They just
more
make you look like
classy
you have
side.
authority. And if you get mad, you
you
just
look
snap
like a
them
boss.
like this.
Yeah, you look like a boss. It's like a mafia look.
The mafia look's coming
Yeah,
back.
there's mafia. That's exactly what I'm going for. The mafia look, pinstripes, suspenders. Pinstripes are always in though. Like they never really go away. So.
Timeless.
Yeah. Timeless.
And before you talked a bit about you delving into the dance world, so if there's one collaboration that you've done so far that you really do love or that you think surprised people a lot, which one would that be? Because you've done a lot.
Yeah, there is a lot. I feel like Awake, in a way. I feel like that, I mean, Do It Right was kind of like a moment as well, but that was like far in the dance world, and that kind of opened that whole, she can sing, and she's like doing the pop vibe, and
I feel like there was a streak of festivals with like Stereosonic and shit where that was like the anthem of the summer.
That's so funny. I didn't go to those, so I didn't understand. That's so funny. I wish I went. I think Do It Right was like a moment that like shifted things for me, but that like pushed me more into the dance world, and that was like pop. But then I think Awake was like also solidified me in the last like 2 years of like alternative rap, and it was interesting because people were like, oh, I didn't know you could do that, but for me it's like always felt like it's been me, but it's like, yeah, like you said, it's your perspective and other people's perspective of you is like so different sometimes, so I felt like that was my favorite because it felt like my reality was aligning with how I see myself with that track.
And it got a good review from The Needle Drop.
It did.
That's pretty crazy because
Yeah.
I think he named it in his top 100 tracks
number
of the decade.
7. Yeah, and then he made it number 7 for the year, and then I don't know, like 50 something out in the decade or something, which is crazy because he's very picky.
And a lot of music got released last decade.
Oh yeah, for
in
sure.
10 years
exactly.
worth of music.
Yeah, he really felt that because he was like, you know, you're just awake in the middle of the night. This is the song, and I'm like, he must have really felt that if he was like my favorite song of the decade that came out last year. Yeah, it's cool. I think, yeah, it's like another affirmation of like, I'm just going where I want to go, and if I follow it, then nothing should go wrong. Context.
And obviously
Sure.
that one's a really cool review to get, but do you normally pay attention to reviews? Is that something that's on your mind at all, or?
Kind of. Usually it's another one of those like checks of like, are how people seeing the song, how I'm seeing it as well. Like usually if I like the song and everyone's like, yeah, this is sick, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But if someone's like, oh, it's a bit lackluster, I'm like, damn, that one night that I felt that it felt like that song felt boring, maybe I was right. And I don't know, but it's another one of those things where it's like, nothing really matters. So, but I think for me, for me, I don't know. For me, yeah, I read reviews to check if my opinion is like valid on some things. It could be for movies. It could be for songs that I made. I definitely remember a song came out and I just really didn't like the production. I was like fighting with the label for ages, being like, I just feel like the production could be so much cooler. And then a review was just like, it sounds like it came out 3 years ago. And I was like, thank you so much for saying that, because I've been saying that. But then it looks really bad that I just put out a song and I'm literally like, yeah, I agree, the production's so bad. I don't know.
It's so hard not to get swayed by it, hey, because like, I know the first thing I do when, you know, a friend says, let's go to a restaurant, I'm like, Yelp. It's any less than 4.5 stars, I'm like, fuck this, we're not
You're
going
like,
there.
no. Sometimes I'm willing to risk it. Probably not, but generally I am. It has to have a good aesthetic going on.
In the restaurant?
Yeah, on their Yelp and stuff. Sometimes that's what can make a difference of like, if the rating's bad, but there's nothing else, and the photos look nice, I'll probably still eat it.
You're about the setting, yeah.
Yeah. Give
I
me
get
some
that.
energy, good energy.
And speaking about Awake and the single that followed, I Don't Care If You Be Dead.
Yeah.
I guess for some people, you know, like you said, it might have been a bit surprising because it definitely took a harder and, lack of a better word, darker turn than some of your previous stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think was the inspiration behind that?
I mean, a lot of those songs, they were very like, they weren't thought out that much. It was just like, this is how I felt. I was listening to a lot of trap music. I feel like my whole life, like I've been this bratty, like I'm pretty annoying. I just say, yeah, I'm just like loud. If you know me, you know that I'm just like running up walls, and I'm like, if it's 10 p.m, I'm probably like banging a plate and like
For no reason.
yeah, or like on the internet starting a war with someone on Reddit, or like some random, do you know what I mean? Like I'm just that person, like I like drama. So for those, it was just like the music that was happening around there was like, I don't know, Vince Staples, JPEGMAFIA was coming out, and then who else was around there? I don't know, like Bad Babby and like all that stuff. It was like that wonky, like distorted rap, and I was like, wait, these are my people. And it's easy to just like sing along to songs and just end up thinking of your own lyrics kind of thing. And I just had all of these ideas and went to the studio and I was like, what about this and this? And they just came together really quickly. And they reminded me of when I first started writing music. It was just like whatever I first thought went. And like when I made Switch Lanes, like Aha and MOB, they were literally like, that day I wrote them, then recorded them, and that was like the song. And everyone was like, this is great. So I was just like, why can't I just do that now instead of taking like 3 weeks to figure out one word? So I think that was the thought behind it. It was just like, we're gonna make these, they're dope now, just put them out. Obviously the process has been like slower because when you have like labels and stuff, it just ends up dragging out and everyone's like, is this the day it's meant to come out? They're like, no, we need 2 more weeks or something. But yeah, I just like the process of how quick it is, and yeah, it's just like loud and it's fun and it's like nothing matters.
Why do you keep saying that?
Because nothing matters.
Nothing.
Life is what you make it.
Yeah, if
And
there's one thing to
also,
take away from this interview, it's that nothing ever matters. Yeah, I get that. And lyrically, those songs?
I mean, Awake is literally just about not sleeping, but like also killing people and like it's so, I don't know, it's just like straightforward, not really about anything. And I don't care if he'd be dead. It's the same thing. I'm just like flexing, having fun. It's not really like meant to be about anything, because I feel like there's other songs where I can say, like, speak about things. So I think those were just like outlets. And like I Don't Care If He'd Be Dead was just meant to be like a throwaway. Like it's not like this is a song, you know. And I feel like people should do that more. So.
Not literally killing people, just.
Not lyrically.
Metaphorically.
I had some guy that obviously he heard on the radio, because I had the notification saying it got played on the radio, and he commented straight on my Instagram being like, "Why do you keep saying you have a gun when you don't have one, and you don't kill people?" And I'm just like, it's my song. I can do whatever you want. Like, just switch the radio off if you don't like it. He's like, "I couldn't switch it off because I was at work." It's like, okay, cool. And then he came back again when it got played, and I was just like, "Why are you still here? I don't get it. Just leave me alone."
Leave me alone, I'm gonna come out with my gun.
Because nothing matters. Exactly, yeah. I don't know.
And also, and also recently, you went on tour for the first time in Asia.
Yes.
So how's that experience? Because in my experience of going to gigs and going to clubs in Asia, which, you know, is a little bit limited, but
Yeah.
the crowds are either super subdued and respectful, or they're just fucking balls out
Like
crazy, you know? How's it for you?
They were actually really fun. I played in Shanghai. That was cool. It was like polite, but still, you know, when something came on, everyone was like grooving to it. In Tokyo, it was very polite, but it was packed out. It was a really good crowd, and it was interesting because a lot of them were like, "This is the best show I've ever been to," and I'm like, "You guys are so polite." But I don't know if that's like a translation thing, if you know what I mean. It's
They're actually
like,
saying it was terrible, but
yeah, they're like, "This is my favorite show ever," and you're like, "Oh, okay." Yeah, they're really polite, which was a crazy one. Singapore was crazy. People were moshing and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I've played a festival there before, and it was very polite. Like, there was no drunk people. The Shanghai show, a girl got escorted out by a security guy, because she was being too rowdy.
Too rowdy.
Yeah, and then she went onto my Instagram being like, "I got punched in the face, I want a refund." And I was like, whoa.
You personally have to refund.
No, the venue has to do it. It's always so hard. I feel bad when people get into weird situations like that, and it's like they're literally coming to see you, and then they get punched in the face, and it's like the worst day of the year for them.
It just happens.
And people don't go out that often either, like the normal person. It's tough.
Just rap music. Sometimes it just happens.
It'd be like that.
It'd be like that. And speaking about touring, when you've been on the road around Australia, someone that has joined you on a couple of shows is Flex. You described her on Instagram, yourself and her on Instagram, as your favorite fire sign duo.
Yeah.
So for anyone that's not into astrology, what does that entail, being a fire sign? What does that mean?
A fire sign, so if you're a Sagittarius, an Aries, a Leo, and a Gemini, I think a Gemini is another fire sign. You're very mutable, you're very like chaotic, quickly on the move, and it's like adventurous, but there's also always like, there's different types. Like if you're a Sagittarius, like I'm a fire sign, so I like to travel, I like new experiences, pretty straightforward, very blunt, but because for me, I'm more passive and chilled in the way I go about it. If you're an Aries, you're probably a bit more like, I don't know, brazen and emotional, whereas I'm less emotional. And you see Flex, she's always like ready to fight someone. But if you, like, I feel like if you were like Tkay probably 2 years ago, you'd be like, she's kind of quiet. And you wouldn't know that I just like to like run amok kind of thing. So
and troll cunts on Reddit.
Yeah, exactly. Like you just wouldn't know. And then if you're a Gemini, it's like you're almost like a Sagittarius, but you have like two sides to you and you're a bit of a psychopath. So it's like you can be a bit hot and cold and what's the word, deceiving. And then Leo is like a more leadership, but they're all leaders, but there's like different types of them. A Leo's more, like leading.
Some are dictators.
Yeah, some are dictators. Those are Geminis. Geminis are a dictator.
I'm Taurus, what does that mean?
You're a loving, you're like a mother figure, you're a caring figure, and you like to look after
I agree
people.
with that.
But you can be like stubborn.
Yeah, I'm pretty stubborn.
My mom's a Taurus, so yeah. But like a lot of my friends are Aries, Leos. I have like a couple of Gemini friends, but most of the people I hate are Geminis.
So if a fan's a Gemini, they should not approach you?
I feel like, no, I feel like we'd probably relate, but there will be a personality clash. Yeah.
Keep the interaction short.
Yeah, it's just like, it has to be very
get your
like,
photo and fuck off.
very surface level. Just like, don't like, if you get too close, you start seeing the real stuff and you're like, and then other Sagittarius people I've met, I'm like, definitely relate to you, but you're a psycho, and I feel like they'd probably feel the same about me, if you know what I mean. I don't know. Miley Cyrus is a Sagittarius.
Have you met her?
No, but I'm just saying, if you know what I mean. She's very like, come to the party, or you can stay behind.
Yeah. Party in USA. She
Do you know what I
did say
mean?
that. She did say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Astrology.
Astrology. I'm glad I got the
Do
rundown.
you know your whole chart?
Yeah, I'll show it to you on CoStar later.
Oh, amazing.
We've got to wait for that sponsorship if we're going to whip it on camera.
It's free. Oh no, I don't think CoStar Astrology is free anymore.
Oh, I meant they got to sponsor this show if we're going to whip
Okay.
it out on
Oh no,
screen.
but I was gonna say CoStar is free. So like, why would they have to sponsor?
Awareness. Don't ask me how marketing works. Ask me. He
Like
secures the
anyone,
bags. I'm just the face.
Secure the bag.
And
Yeah.
by the time this interview is out, you're going to be on the road with Princess Nokia. So that's obviously
Yes.
super exciting. Tell us about when you found out that news, because I imagine for you that would have been, dream come true type shit.
That was amazing. I mean, yeah, I found out in November last year, and honestly didn't believe it until I saw the poster. Like, I love her music. She's such a character. I don't know, she embodies that whole freedom of an artist and like still being herself, and it's real, it's fun, it's like, she's inspiring. So I think it's another one of those things where it's like, oh, like what I want to be is aligning with where I am going kind of thing. And that was like, I'm really excited. I love Europe as well, so it's gonna be really cool.
What else have you got planned for the rest of the year besides that?
I'm gonna drop this collab secret. That'll probably come out during the tour, and then I have my own single that will come out probably after the tour, and 2 EPs, and then an album, and I feel like this will come out. Oh yeah, that's kind of it for now.
2
But I
EPs
know-
and an album? That's a lot.
Well, over after the tour.
This is the 18-month
This
plan,
is like
yeah.
the 18-month plan. Yeah, exactly. But what's set in stone is like, the 2 EPs and the singles and like a fun collaboration that I'm excited about, and the tour with Princess Nokia.
Awesome. Any last words for the TK fans out there?
Just remember, nothing matters.